Welcome to Behind the SME, the podcast where we dive into the stories of founders, leaders, and visionaries of small and medium-sized enterprises. As the CEO of a small business myself, I want to uncover what drives the success of SMEs by talking to those who are in the trenches, building their businesses from the ground up. I hope you enjoy the episode. Well, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
It's good to see you, and thanks for taking the time to be with us. And really looking forward to getting into some of the topics that we've got on our little list today. I think you're going to bring a different take to some of the topics that we've touched on before. And so I think we should start by introducing yourself. Tell everyone about you, your journey, and what's led you to us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I founded my business in 2014, so a couple of years before you.
Yep, 3 years for us. Yeah.
My family are entrepreneurial. So my dad's got a business, elder brother got a business, elder sister got a business. They're all very much like they've raised money. They've set out to start a business. I was completely different. Was helping some people, some small businesses doing some marketing. That sort of broad phrase of marketing could be anything. It was at the stage of Twitter, when people started using Twitter, you tweet, I'd just woken up or whatever. And businesses were using it for no reason, not to make any money, but because the next business was. And I did 6 months in LA after uni and sort of got a bit of exposure to social media. But again, it was nothing sort of comprehensive, really. It was just working out how to do socials, why to do socials, and it was very much of how to get followers was around following and engaging in lots of other people's posts, and then you'd get reciprocal followers back. And I started doing that, and I wasn't really very motivated at all, where it's pretty mundane stuff. And a few of the businesses who were very, very small SMEs didn't have their own marketing team. So they would then say to me, hey, Will, thanks, you're doing a really good job on our socials. Would you be able to help us on a website project? And I'd be like, yeah. Sort of at that stage, you're just saying yes to everything. And so I'd go away and run a tender process for them with a couple of different suppliers and work with them through the end-to-end of a website. And the same things kept on coming up, whereby the suppliers were all terrible. The brief from the client was never sort of enough. So there was quite an obvious gap between them. And the suppliers kept on making these websites whereby you'd get a website and then every single minute change, you'd have to engage with the supplier again because they would want to make more money on the management side of things. And it would just always create friction straight away between, you could deliver a website, which obviously would be delayed and have issues and stuff like that. But then when they've got the website, the client's like, I just want to change a few words. It shouldn't be costing me hours and hours of work. But equally on the flip side, the guys that made the website hadn't really thought, obviously they're going to want to make changes. So we're going to have to build something that is scalable for them. And there was this massive friction. And I just thought, I can do this better. Devs are typically quite quirky. And you have to handle with a lot of care, communication with them. And I felt like I could do that. And then, so I was like, I'm not going to get a supplier. Why don't I just hire a junior dev? And I'll sort of stay being the middleman with these guys. And it's not really going to cost me that much money. It's not really a risk. And it worked. And then someone else came along and was like, oh yeah, you did that website. Can you help us with this? I was like, yeah, sure. Suddenly I had a business.
I would love to know how many businesses were founded on blind confidence and the expression, I think I might be able to do that better. Because mine was really similar,
Was it?
Yeah.
Because I was going to ask, how did you were head of sales and then you moved into then starting a business in R&D and tax advisory.
Yeah. And maybe the head of sales title was a bit of a disguise because I was doing a lot of consulting as well. So I was 360 in my prior role.
Yeah.
And then, again, some blind confidence in going, I think I might be able to do this better. And yeah, that was the founding step, I suppose.
Yeah, it's a funny one because I have never, and I don't think I will ever prioritize like the financial gain of trying to win business. We will never prioritize people based on how much money we can get from them. It's always just customer obsession and delivering, like going hell bent on delivering a good service for them. Because if you do that, the other stuff comes with it.
Mm.
And I think that's quite different to where a lot of other people operate. And they're so obsessed with, we've got to make money, we've got to do this, this, this. But actually, I feel like if you flip it on its head and actually know that you're delivering good service, the other stuff comes.
Yeah. And was that always part of your DNA, or was that a realization a little bit later through the SoBold journey?
I think it's always part of my DNA,
Really?
really.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and again, like it can be to our detriment as well sometimes, because we end up, especially with legacy clients who we've worked with in 2014, 2015, 2016, you end up with people you have like first love syndrome. These
Mm.
clients who came to you and you're giving them like an insane service, but you can't quite move them into like
Yeah, yeah,
more of a structured.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I had one of those calls yesterday from someone in the team saying, Adam, you realize that this client has been on this rate for this many years. Are we still happy with that? You go, wow, at the time, we really
yeah,
wanted to work with them. Things have changed a bit now, but
yeah,
yeah, tricky. Yeah.
really hard. One of our biggest kind of struggles about 3 or 4 years ago when we kind of had a bit more of an identity, because in the early stages we were just, yeah, we were doing websites, but we were just taking everything and anything and sort of hustling and winging it, like you kind of have to at the start of a business and being enthusiastic about doing so. And then we really like refine it down. We're like, no, we want to focus on enterprise businesses. And actually we want to, the way we approach websites, we want to bring it to that sort of upper tier of businesses who don't get that at the moment. They get quite a different approach to web builds with much more expensive enterprise products. And they didn't realize that you can do it in a different way. And part of the problem there was trying to get rid of a lot of our legacy clients
Mm,
who were draining our time. And it was really difficult. And
yeah.
I'm sure you've had sort of similar things in the past. And you have to sort of reimagine your identity.
Yeah. 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 Let's talk about websites generally, because I would have thought 10 years ago, people would have said websites in 10 years will be redundant.
Yeah.
But they've really stood the test of time, haven't they? And I'm interested in, you've set out your stall saying we're going to be experts in this part of the whole marketing mix.
Yeah.
That's what we do. Obviously, you place huge value on it. What's the pitch nowadays for the website?
Yeah. It's all about scalability and flexibility. So can the website or platform, so there's a slight differentiation there, but they're ultimately same. Can you take it and know that in the next 5 years, your business is going to grow and your offering is going to change, and this platform is going to be scalable to your needs, and it's not going to absolutely blow your budget by having to come to us. Ultimately, the more you're doing on the website internally, the more you're going to lean on us anyway, because you're going to want more features, you're going to want more complex integrations and things like that. So it's this sort of scalability of the platform is what we'd sell, and also we'd sell the flexibility of your team can manage it. When we give you that website, we will do a training day with you. We'll send you a guide. It'll have video prompts in there as well. So everyone in your team should be able to do it. And of course, you get some people whose marketing team are way too busy to do their website, and that's fine. We can do it for them, but what we're trying to do is give you the tools to be able to grow in the direction that you don't even know your business is going to grow in, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Do you see, let's imagine that you're a listener with, I don't know, 5 to 15 employees. They might diminish the role of their own website and say, look, it's a shop front. It doesn't need to do much because most of our clients come from word of mouth. And we have some good social media responses and an ROI and some spend there, but really it's about word of mouth. How would you encourage those SME leaders to continue to evolve their site, and what role do you think it plays in their desires to scale?
Yeah, different per business. A lot of them, I would say, don't go and spend money on something that you're not sure about if you haven't nailed down your offering and where you want to go.
Sure.
And I see that the whole time, and people come away and go, oh, I've just spent 20 grand on a website and it doesn't do what we want to do. And a lot of the time that's because there's no education piece in there. And the agency's done wrong, and they've done wrong because they haven't educated, but they're trying to deliver to what they've got to. But the client is also pissed off because they've spent a lot of money and they don't quite understand that that's what they're getting. But on the flip side, if you have a company who is very ambitious and you can very clearly see that, and they have competent people in the marketing team that understand what they're paying for, then there's a case to say, yes, you should continue investing. And this is the reason why, not because of where you are now, but because of the potential of where you can get to with this. And again, like I could get a small business, 10 to 15 people. They've been going around a couple of years, they're building up their reputation, and they might not have a big budget. And I can then say, right, you shouldn't come out near anywhere like us. You can get a quick starter theme from here. It's already pre-built. Yes, it's not going to be perfect, but it should be able to get you from A to B.
Yeah.
Similarly, on the flip side, you may have a company, same small amount of people, but they have a really clear direction as to where they want to go. And they know what they're getting out of the time. But it's really hard, the education piece. And I know with what you guys are doing, it'll be very, very similar.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just justifying that to them.
Yeah, I think the stats on our most popular page visits are our education pieces, and some really niche ones. You'll write an article about, I don't know, for us, R&D funding within agriculture, I know is one of our ones, which has been viewed a lot. And suddenly if you write R&D in agriculture, tax credits in agriculture, will be one of the top hits because of, the way that's worked. And so naturally we've won a good number of clients in that space. And
it works as the validation point, right? And that's the same for lots of our clients. You might have loads of different goals with the website, but ultimately the website and your brand is the validation externally of what you're doing.
And equally, I suppose, flipping from SME to startups, it's quite easy to spend too much time on a website, I would imagine, right? And early on go, the website must be perfect. And you're thinking, actually, what's critical to success here? A website that no one's going to visit for the first 6 months, or getting some customers on board?
Exactly.
Knowing that, to your point, your proposition will probably pivot 3 or 4 times in the first 6 months anyway. So I guess get something which does the job would be the advice there.
100%. And the website with branding, with how your friends perceive your business, how your family perceive a business, it's all part of a bigger puzzle piece, right? And it's like one of multiple things that is important, but you can put more emphasis on other elements and still be an incredibly successful business.
But it's the linchpin, isn't it, right? Everything, your LinkedIn, your social media, it all funnels through the website with hopefully some calls to action. And for a lot of people, it's still the ultimate decision-making tool, isn't it?
Yeah.
You might see an incredible ad on Instagram and go, that looks super impressive. Straight to the website, doesn't match up. I'm off.
Yeah.
And so it's an incredibly powerful funnel.
It is.
Yeah.
And
still, I'm so surprised. I still think,
I mean,
that it would have diminished in time.
Even with like the emergence of AI and everything like that, I'm a massive believer that we're going to be sitting here in 5 years' time, and there's still going to be the need. Yeah, you can incorporate a lot of AI into how you're approaching things and get a lot of efficiencies, a cheaper product, and all of that. But you need to get a bespoke solution exactly as you need it, and we need to be in a room and chat it through and determine exactly your business goals and how. And you need to then leave a room going, Will and the guys, I can trust them. They can deliver on this, rather than when your trust is wavering.
Yeah. Yeah,
becomes hard.
I try. This is such an interesting topic, the kind of hybrid
Yeah,
consulting model of, nothing can replace that client to advisor, real, like, let's chew this over, whiteboard, big goals, ambitions, multiple things coming through. But then you want the efficiencies and the cost
yeah,
benefits that an AI solution can provide. What's the lovely mix that you can create there?
yeah,
I think that's going to be the key in a lots of roles, is finding that lovely balance between the two.
100%. And the companies that don't really find that, sadly, will come and go by the wayside. And I know a couple of guys who were a web dev agency, good, really successful business, but they're just passionate about AI, and so now they're trying to work with other agencies, web dev agencies, and to try and show them, the tools that they're using. And I think that's really cool.
Hmm.
That obviously has to be handled with care. And I mean, I've seen in my own agency people using AI, and it's using ChatGPT to do stupid things and
Like what?
like write emails, internal emails, but it's just like
Internal.
it's just stupid.
Yeah, yeah.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, it loses your own
Yeah,
authenticity when you
exactly. And I can see from a mile off, it's all those like sincerest regards. And,
yeah, yes,
I'd like to express my thanks for this email. I'm like, mate,
yeah,
what are you doing?
It's like someone's attacked your email with a thesaurus and just
Literally,
just throwing a synonym at every potential word. Yeah,
yeah. I don't know. God knows but
yeah.
it happens.
Let's go back into the kind of the journey into SoBold,
Yeah,
because you very modestly, just it sounds like you fell into it, but you've grown a sizable firm now. I think I'm right in saying you started it by yourself, and I just want to unpack a little bit about your take on being a solo founder, and I guess the pros and cons of that
yeah.
experience.
Started it by myself. I've now got a really, really good team and some like incredibly valuable people. My tech director, he may as well be a co-founder now. He's been with us 6 years, part of the business. Our head of design, our lead dev, they are like, we've got a really core group there, but it's been hard, and it's really hard to enjoy the wins and to be able to celebrate them, because you're just dealing with the next load of rubbish that ends up on your plate, and you're like, hold on, all I'm doing is HR, admin, got no one to bounce ideas off. I'm lonely. I don't really want to go home and tell my wife because she's got her own job and she doesn't need this crap. I don't know. How do you find it?
Yeah, I mean, sounds pretty similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's difficult because you you have to strike this balance between being authentic and transparent with the people that are really close to you, but also not wanting to, bring them in on every kind of minutiae, because you want to be a consistent leader, and not expose them to things that might worry them and that are outside of their control as well. So yeah, it can be super lonely, can't it? And
The oversharing thing is so true. Like, all you want to do is share with even like, really trusted people in the office about something that's going on, but the repercussion that could have.
Hmm.
And then you're just bottling it up and you're just having to wear it.
Yeah, I think my rule for that is only to share if they can actually support you in the solution. If it's just to kind of get it off your chest, and I don't necessarily think that a problem shared is a problem halved,
No,
because they might just carry it home, and if they can't do anything about it, it's not fair. It's probably the wrong thing to do.
Agreed.
But I would say that there are some really good networks of other people in a similar boat that can help people feel less lonely.
Yeah,
You know?
I've got we used to work in a shared office space in Cannon Street, and met this guy called George, who you might meet at another time, and he's just recently sold his business, and he works in sort of bike parking solutions. It's very random.
Niche, love it.
Yeah, very niche. And we're in the same office, and we're chatting, and their website's a key thing for them. And we get talking. We do his website. Still very much like a client relationship, though. A sort of similar age to me. And then in the last couple of years, we've both really leaned on each other. and it's been awesome. So we catch up every 2 or 3 weeks, and we just offload. And obviously over time, I've got to know his business, he's got to know my business, and it's absolutely awesome. And I've had a few of those sort of things over the last 10 years with different groups. At the moment, the one with George is insanely valuable, and he's just sold his business. I'm so chuffed for him. But I would say to anyone that is a solo founder, or even has a co-founder, finding someone that you can genuinely trust and going out of the office and going to like a breakfast meeting, it will be invaluable if you let your guard down.
Yeah. I mean, I 100% second that. I was part of a CEO group, about 15 of us, met every month, kind of a staged talk, and then lots of kind of into sessions where you'd go coaching and the like. And actually, sometimes you just need to hear that other people are going through the same thing that you might be going through, and you go, it's not just me. That's great, and I feel 10 times better.
100%.
And and you take a load from hearing about other people's problems, and also how they've solved some of those problems, and you just learn by osmosis occasionally in those environments. Yeah,
I'd say on that note, to again anyone small business, if they feel like they're really struggling, I promise you every other business is exactly the same. And so take a deep breath. You're not in it on your own, and your problem, like if you hear other people's problems, they'll make your problem seem insignificant, and that's not diminishing it.
Yeah. Well, let's flip it around to the more positive bit.
Yep.
Because you said something earlier that I'm interested in asking about, which was, people are bad at celebrating those milestones. Is that a recent realization for you? Because if you know that, surely you can then do something about it.
Yeah, we try and do that. Like a class, it's so hard though, and everyday life just gets in the way of it. But a classic example is you got a team of designers and developers working on a project together. Project spans, let's say your website, your new website, which you've
very snazzy. Yeah, have a
look. You get to the end of it, and everyone has busted a gut for best part of 3 months as a team. And then if you're the developer or the designer, project finishes, you get given your next project. There is absolutely no stop and like champion. So we tried to put in place whenever we have a go live, we get pizzas in the office, and we have lunch, and we just chill and we reflect on the project. The issue is finding that go live time, and
it's not always a clear boom, launch,
exactly.
Off she goes.
And we might, plan to go live on a Monday, and the client messages on Friday, being like, guys, we have to push back to Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then on
Cancel
the Wednesday,
order, guys.
yeah, exactly. Well, then on the Wednesday, only half of them might be working from the office that day, and then suddenly you've lost that momentum.
Yeah.
And it's you want to do it. We want to do it more, but it's difficult.
It's difficult, but at least you're aware of it now.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's a new realization.
100%.
Because it just rolls straight into the next thing.
Yeah, exactly. And you must be thinking, if you're a developer, oh God, give me a break.
Yeah.
Just work my ass off. And now been given another thing.
Yeah. So as a small and growing business, no doubt you'd have had LinkedIn inboxes, emails regularly saying, "We'll love what you're doing. Let's have a conversation about a partnership opportunity, i.e. let me invest in your business and see if we can do something together." Have you ever taken any investment? Have you ever been tempted? What's your view on this?
Short answer, we've never taken anything, no. And I've never been tempted, no.
Okay, never been lured into the conversation.
No, well, I've had conversations, but more to see the potential if there is a partnership in a different way, if I can spin it a different way.
Right.
No, I'm very, very, very proud. It's my proudest things that I bootstrapped my business.
Did you say your family, they've run businesses where they were raised?
All had heavy investment.
Really? So Christmas, you're going bootstrapped?
Yeah. Exactly. Profitable. But again, I also reflect on a lot of other people's businesses, and often the people that bootstrap in my opinion, don't really get the credit that they deserve. And if in a non-sexy service like websites, like R&D and tax advisory, people are not gonna be shouting about you. They're not gonna be championing you, and it's difficult. And you do see businesses around you that might have raised, a funding raise of £250,000, and everyone's going, "Oh, these guys are amazing. They do AI and this and that." But actually, the fact of the matter is, everyone is deserving of credit. I don't want to. I want to run the business the way I want to run the business. I want to make the mistakes on my own, and I want to wear them. I want my team to wear them. Like, I've seen other businesses whereby investors wag the tail, and I don't want that to happen. What's your take on it?
Well, I share a very similar view. A proud bootstrapper. I think that those that are bootstrappers do wear it as a badge of honor.
Yeah.
I've had my head turned a couple of times though. I've seen the allure of kind of speeding up the process.
Yeah.
And what that might be able to do. I've got a couple of war stories though, where I've been kind of playing around with an idea. It would need investment, and I decided against it. I'm actually naturally more risk adverse.
Yeah, likewise.
2 or 3 years later, the idea that I had fundamentally has been disproven.
Yeah.
And to give you the real example in my world, a tech version of what we do, basically making a digitalized advisor. And there's businesses in our industry that have put millions into building a solution where the model has really, really struggled. And so, looking back on it, I'm super grateful that I didn't have that disposable income to just pump into something. And, you do live, by your wits, and you have to go, right, what's the most important thing here? And that's making sure that the client absolutely loves what you've just done for them,
100%.
wants to come back, wants to talk about you, and wants to pay your invoice. And ultimately everything else is irrelevant. And what being a bootstrapper does is it strips it back to that day in, day out. And I think that's really, really fundamental. But I do have respect for those that go, we need investment, because otherwise some of these products wouldn't exist. Think about something. I think you said you got a Lime bike here. Lime bikes don't exist because they bootstrapped it. I wouldn't imagine. And so I do respect 100%. That journey. But the thing which I think is really is my biggest takeaway for this, or not my biggest takeaway, it's I don't know, it's a frustration of mine, is when people wear the amount that they've raised as their 100%. Metric for success.
100%.
And they go, I've just raised 20 million quid. And you go, that is incredible. I know a lot goes into that, and the amount of kind of thought, effort, energy, etc. But that isn't my metric for success.
100%.
Yeah. So I do feel passionately about that.
Speaking my words. I also think and again, to anyone that hasn't raised and is bootstrapping it, slow is flipping frustrating, and you have ideas that you want to go and act on, and it's painful and it's really downheartening. But on the flip side of it, too fast will kill you. And that idea is probably a case in point of it. If you had tried to bootstrap it yourself, it would probably taken a couple of years, and you'd have been getting through it, and you'd realize, actually, it's probably not going to be there as an opportunity. Whereas if you'd raised money and gone hell for leather at it, you would have probably focused all your efforts in it, maybe shifted your focus away from your actual core service that's actually the reason why you're so successful, and then it'll come to nothing in the end.
Yeah. I also think just final point on this, because I've pitched the benefits of bootstrapping before. Sometimes you have to interrogate as a founder the reasons why you started a business. And if it's for the ability to make an impact on the world, to innovate, to have some freedom, hopefully to aim for work optionality, and to really enjoy that process, fundraising isn't for you. Because what you're doing is signing yourself up to delivering on a set of fairly ambitious objectives that you've just raised on. I can't imagine taking a holiday, when I've just raised £500,000. I know I've got a runway of 12 months. I wouldn't be able to go away for a week.
100%.
I would feel awful. Just it would be nagging on me. And I can imagine that being a real struggle. They call it the train, right? The venture train.
Yeah.
Oh God. I mean, running a business is hard enough as it is, but the whole process of keeping investors happy and up to date, etc., and then getting ready for the next raise, when you and I both know that actually the fundamental thing being focusing on the product, surely that just becomes a massive distraction.
Yeah.
Do you know what I need to do? I need to get someone on here that is got such a compelling pitch for fundraising that I go, wow, actually,
get me for a second visit and we'll debate it.
We'll get all of us in a room. I think that would be really interesting. And then by the end of it, I'll be going, you got any phone numbers of
exactly.
people that fancy a slice of a growing R&D firm? Good. Well, thank you so much for giving us your insights. It's such a cool journey, and hopefully we catch up again on this and many more topics.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Cheers.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Behind the SME. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. It really helps others find the show. If you want to get in touch, you can find our email in the description. Until then, keep building, keep learning, and we'll see you next time.